Nobody tells you when it happens. There's no conversation, no argument, no clear moment you can point to. One day people just start treating you differently. They interrupt you more. They listen less. They stop asking for your opinion. Someone who used to take your words seriously now nods politely and moves on. And the most disorienting part? You haven't done anything dramatic. You haven't failed publicly. You haven't changed, or at least you don't think you have. But something shifted, and they felt it before you did. Respect doesn't leave all at once. It erodes, quietly, consistently, through small behaviors that accumulate over time. The painful truth is this: most people never find out why. They just notice the distance and blame it on circumstances, on other people, on bad luck. But there are specific patterns, specific behaviors, that psychologists have identified as the invisible triggers that make people stop taking you seriously. In this video, we're going to examine 8 of them. Some will be obvious once you hear them. Others will be uncomfortable because you'll recognize yourself. Sign 8 is the one most people never see coming. But first, sign 1. You explain yourself too much. You make a decision. Someone questions it. And instead of standing behind it, you immediately begin to justify, clarify, elaborate. You add context they didn't ask for. You anticipate objections. You signal that you're not fully confident in your own judgment. The moment you stop needing people to understand every choice, they start trusting your choices more. Respect follows clarity. Sign 2. You react too quickly. Someone criticizes you and you respond immediately. The reaction is fast, visible, emotional. It tells people that you can be moved, that the right provocation will pull a response out of you every time. And once people know that, they will use it. Emotional reactivity signals that external events are in charge of your internal state. The people who hold respect are the ones who create a pause. Composure is not distance. It's power that doesn't announce itself. Stillness under fire communicates that you are not afraid. Sign 3. You tolerate what you said you wouldn't. At some point, you drew a line, and then someone crossed it. And nothing happened. You adjusted. You rationalized. But boundaries that aren't enforced aren't boundaries. They're preferences. Every time you tolerate something you rejected, you teach people the actual rules you live by. What you allow is what people come to expect. Sign 4. You need agreement to feel confident. You share an idea and immediately scan the room. You watch faces. When people sense that your confidence is borrowed from them, they stop lending it freely. They see your certainty as conditional. True confidence doesn't need the room to agree. People don't follow those who need to be followed. They follow those who move forward. Sign 5. You're always available. You return every message within minutes. You say yes before the question is finished. Scarcity creates value. When access to someone is immediate, the unconscious registers them as widely available. And what is widely available is rarely treated as precious. If you treat your time as infinitely flexible, others will too. Presence means more when it isn't automatic. Stay with me for part 2. Sign 6. You shrink in groups. One-on-one, you're clear, articulate, confident. But put you in a room with more people and something changes. Your voice drops. Your sentences trail off. You wait too long to speak, and by the time you do, the moment has passed. Or you speak, but you cushion everything. I might be wrong, but this might not be the best idea, but just a thought. These qualifiers feel like humility, but they function as instructions to the listener, telling them to weight your words lightly. Group dynamics are governed by invisible social hierarchies. People track who takes up space, who holds their position, who speaks like their voice belongs in the room. You don't need to be the loudest person. You need to be the most grounded. To speak as if what you're saying was worth saying before you said it. Sign 7. You complain without acting. You name the problem, clearly, repeatedly, with full conviction. But the situation stays the same. Next week, same problem, same words, same tone. By the 3rd time they hear the same frustration without any movement, something changes in how they see you. Chronic complaint without action signals that you have identified a problem but chosen, consciously or not, to live inside it. This is where respect begins to recede. The moment you stop narrating your circumstances and start making decisions within them, the room reads you differently. There's a version who talks and a version who changes it. Sign 8. You use respect as a performance. This is the one most people don't see in themselves. You know how to carry yourself, so you perform it. You dress it up, calibrate it, deploy it. But performance has a frequency. People start to sense the gap between the projection and what's underneath. They notice that your confidence shifts depending on the audience, that your authority is louder in some rooms than others, that the image requires maintenance. Real respect doesn't come from projecting strength. It comes from a consistency so deep that people feel it even when you're not trying. The most magnetic people are not performing presence. They simply have it, and presence can't be faked indefinitely. Eventually, what's real is all that's left. How to rebuild without overcompensating. Recognizing these patterns is not an invitation to remake yourself from the outside in. That's just a different performance. First, stop managing perception, start managing behavior. The perception adjusts on its own when the behavior is genuine, decisions without the need for validation. Second, let discomfort sit without filling it. Practice pausing. Let silence exist. The gap between stimulus and response is where composure lives. Third, align what you say with what you do. Every time your words and actions match, you add to a pattern people can rely on. Built in mundane moments. Respect is a strange thing. You can't ask for it directly. You can't perform your way into it permanently. It forms in the minds of others through observation. Who are you when no one is evaluating me? Because that person, the one who exists without the audience, is the one people actually sense. Jung said it clearly. What you don't make conscious will direct your life, and you will call it fate. These behaviors are mostly unconscious. Now you see them. The next step isn't to perform differently. It's to become someone who no longer needs to. Observe more, speak less, and watch who changes. I choose awareness.